Side Hustle Show 152, Finding Your Slight Edge.
Welcome to the Side Hustle Show, where aspiring part-time entrepreneurs learn how to turn their side hustle dreams into reality. Because your 9 to 5 may make you a living, but your 5 to 9 makes you alive. And now, your host, Nick Loper.
Happy New Year! Nick Loper here. Welcome to the Side Hustle Show. If you're new to the program, it's all about ideas, action, and results on how to build job-free income streams into your life. It's primarily an interview show where I get to share the amazing stories from successful side hustle entrepreneurs and pull out as many tactical nuggets as I can, sometimes quite selfishly, as I've applied many of the ideas from my guests into my own business over the last couple years. But occasionally, I get behind the mic solo style, and that's what's going on in this special Friday, New Year's edition of the Side Hustle Show. So it's January 1st as this episode airs. If you're listening in the future, totally fine by me. I want you to know I'm not so big into resolutions, but I am more into doing the little things each day that move you closer to where you want to be. Call it the hustle habit, call it the compound effect, call it the slight edge. Just remember, a year from now, you're going to wish you started today. Or if you've already begun, aren't you happy that you did? You'll never meet an entrepreneur who says, man, I really wish I waited. I really wish I'd procrastinated it another 6 months, waited for that perfect idea, waited until the timing was just right. It just doesn't happen. So today I want to talk about a book I read recently called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And more importantly, how you can find your slight edge in 2016 and beyond. So here's the premise of the book. Get 1% better today. Get 1% better today, get 1% better tomorrow. Make continuous improvement a habit. Get yourself on autopilot to do this relentless incrementalism. Bjork Ostrom from the Pinch of Yum blog, you mentioned, I call this 1% infinity. And I try and get 1% better every day. Over the course of the year, not accounting for compound interest, because math people might get upset with me, you're going to be 365% better off if you improve 1% every day. And actually, this is a leap year, so 366% better. It's a fantastic effect where it may not make a huge impact today, may not make a huge impact tomorrow, but over time, it adds up to be a significant gain. So my discussion is going to cover 3 areas on my notes and thoughts from the Slight Edge book. Number 1 is the science of success. Number 2 is the habits and actions that actually give you your slight edge, and my suggestions on how you can implement those in your life. And the last part of this episode will be a discussion on happiness, which is, I thought, a very interesting segment of this book and kind of what we're all after, right? So let's dive in. The author gives the definition of success as the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. The progressive realization of a worthy ideal. I think that's a really important definition because he specifically calls out progress, not necessarily completion. It's climbing the mountain, not necessarily reaching the top. And it's very similar to an essay I wrote a couple months ago called "The Journey is the Destination." Every goal or summit or destination that you reach is greeted with the same question: now what? The problem is the things that create success in the long run don't necessarily look like they're having any impact at all in the short run. And this is a point that this book makes. Like, if you go to the gym today, you're not going to have a 6-pack tomorrow. And similarly, if you don't go to the gym today, you're probably not going to keel over and die from obesity tomorrow. But in this way, the slight edge works both positively and negatively. No one is born 100 pounds overweight, or no one is born $100,000 in debt. Those results are the cumulative effect of probably years of negative habits. And I think that's a good segue into section 2 of this conversation about habits. Because if we can't see the results right away, and the impact of not taking action is equally invisible in the near term, how do we know what to do? And this is where I thought the book was a little bit weak, because the author gives one framing question to ask yourself. Is this decision going to help me or hurt me? Is this decision going to help me or hurt me? And for some questions, for some decisions, that's an obvious answer. But for some of our business-related stuff, that can be hard to know how to answer that, especially on, side hustle related tasks. Like, is this really going to get me more clients? Is this work ever really going to pay off? And the author explains that people fail at the slight edge for generally one of three reasons. Number one, hey, while these tasks or while these habits are easy to do, they're just as easy not to do. Number two, you don't see any results at first. And number three, these habits seem like they don't matter. And for me, one of the I think I've talked about this before. It's like flossing, a really hard slight edge habit for me to get into. Because, the first day, it doesn't do that much good, positive or negative. If I skip it, I'm not going to die of gingivitis. If I do it, I'm not going to get glowing remarks for the dentist. It's a very long-term thing, the cumulative effect of good oral hygiene. But I want to talk about a few slight edge habits in my business past and hopefully my business future as well, and then get into some habits that the author suggests and some habits that I would suggest for side hustlers listening to this. So for me, in my painting business back in school, I think a slight edge habit for me was cold calling, making a habit each and every week to go hit the pavement and try and find new leads, new customers, being visible and talking to people. And even if that person wasn't interested in having their house painted, maybe they had a rental property across town, or maybe their neighbor who wasn't home needed my service, and I could leave a business card with them or something like that. It was easy to do, and it was equally easy to skip it and say, well, that's not going to make a huge impact on my bottom line today if I don't go. In the shoe business that I had, I think the slight edge was making the habit of updating that database daily. Stuff was constantly coming in and out of stock, and then more than that, keeping the ad inventory up to date as well. If there's no sense in advertising shoes that are out of stock, right? But each day, maybe there would be 14 or 15 ads that would go broken out of 4,000. And it was a pain to run the report and, fix those links. But, and not doing it would make almost no impact. But if you let that slide, if you let the negative habit of that slide for, weeks or months at end, all of a sudden half of your ad inventory is pointing to broken links and you're wasting a ton of money. So that was a slight edge habit for the shoe business. Last year, or actually 2014, I made the slight edge habit of writing 500 words a day. And I didn't get to do it every day, but on average, I blew out of the water this 500 words a day goal. And the reason I named that as a goal was because I found that the content was really driving the business forward. Putting out that written content, either in blog post form, book form, guest post form, really helped move the needle for me. So I made that a slight edge habit. Probably in this past year, recording and publishing the podcast each week, doing the show each week, and including lead magnets for most of the episodes was really the slight edge habit that helped accelerate things for me in 2015. Now, one of the only concrete examples in the book is the daily habit of reading 10 pages. Read 10 pages a day. If you keep that up for the year, you've added the cumulative knowledge of a dozen books into your brain, which is more, sadly, than many adults will read in their lifetime. And it's all from 10 pages a day. It's easy to do, but it's equally easy not to do. So beyond reading, what can you do? Here's what I would say for side hustlers. I would say exercise. There's a reason Richard Branson calls this his number one productivity hack. If you're subscribed to my newsletter, you have probably seen my write-up on push-ups, how I tried to do push-ups every day, as many as I could do, and just tried to do one more than the previous day. And over the course of the month, I went from, I think, 27 at the beginning to 70-something at the end of 30 days, just by this 1% improvement mentality, trying to do one more, trying to get a little bit stronger, a little bit better every day. And sadly, I have not done that habit in a while. I should probably get back into it. So exercise would be my one slight edge habit. I think that's a really important one to get into. Even if it's going for a walk, make it a habit. Number two is just writing. I'm not big into journaling, although that is apparently a very trendy thing right now. But effectively communicating ideas in writing is a critical skill, and I think it comes easier with practice, right? If you don't like to write, this can totally be other forms of content as well. But creating a body of work has been a valuable habit for me, and it's a cool creative outlet. Number 3 would be, proactively build and strengthen your network. And this one is probably the most fun, but maybe also the most challenging. So this could be things as simple as sending an email to someone in your network or someone who you'd like to be in your network, saying, hey, you were thinking of them, thanking them for something they put out, forwarding an article they might like, forwarding a press opportunity from Help a Reporter. This could be, commenting on a post of theirs. This could be as simple as, liking a post of theirs on Facebook or sharing it on social media. A friend of mine calls these warm fuzzies, and I love that term because they cost you nothing, but like, how do you feel when somebody likes your status update? Like when somebody likes my stuff, it feels great. I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody clicked the button on my thing. It's totally free to do. It doesn't cost you anything. It's a very low overhead way to kind of strengthen that network in a very almost passive way. You can send a text message to somebody you haven't talked to in a while. You can write someone a LinkedIn recommendation. You can offer to help in some way, like pass along an introduction to someone, or share a cool resource that you found. Speaking of, one resource that I want to share with you guys that I've been using recently is actually a free virtual assistant app. It's called Go Butler. It's you text in your requests and they like your virtual assistant. Someone at the other end of this text message does your stuff for you. So I had them make a car appointment for my wife's oil change. I've had them answer basic questions instead of Googling stuff. Pretty cool service, and I think they're making money on affiliate commissions on the back end. I'm not really sure, like if you buy something. But a very cool service. I'll link that up in the show notes at sidehustlenation.com/slight-edge. But no matter what your side hustle is, people are at the heart of it. So making a habit of prioritizing this network building, this network strengthening is a really easy slight edge activity that you can start today. And I want to bring up the side hustle physics of all of this, or the nerdy physics of all this. Like an object in motion stays in motion, a side hustler in motion stays in motion. So once you're started, it's easier to keep going than it is to like get that initial inertia off the ground to to start a habit. Now, if you find that these habits aren't working, because it's a little bit vague, right? Remember the question was, hey, is this habit going to help me or hurt me? Or is this activity going to help me or hurt me? In the beginning, it can be hard to know, right? And so if you find that these habits aren't working, if you're not seeing results after, a month, 2 months, 3 months, you can correct course at any time. And the author gave the example of the Apollo moon mission being off course 97% of the time. And if I was an astronaut, that would freak me out. But he made the point, hey, it was off course 97% of the time, still hit the target. You can launch today and adjust course as you go. And perhaps that's the only way to do it, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Final part of this book I thought was really interesting, and the final part of this discussion was a discussion on happiness. And the book shares a Freud quote. He says, hey, there's only 2 ingredients to a happy life. Can you guess what they are? It made a lot of sense once I read it, but I never would have thought of it this way. Freud's 2 ingredients to a happy life: love and work. Do you agree with that? I kind of do. I think if you have I do agree with that. If you have loving relationships and you get to spend your days working on stuff you care about, that sounds like a pretty good recipe for happiness to me. And one thing to keep in mind is happiness is a very vague concept. And for that reason, Tim Ferriss recommends substituting the word excitement. Like, what makes you excited instead of what makes you happy? Maybe that can make it a little bit more concrete, a little bit more easy to grasp. There's another quote in the book from a guy called Albert Schweitzer. He says, success is not the key to happiness. Rather, happiness is the key to success. And I'm very, very guilty of this. Like, we tend to put milestones on our happiness, right? Like, if my side hustle makes enough to quit my job, then I'll be happy. If I get that new car or that new phone or that new house, then I'll be happy. If I have $1 million in the bank, then I'll be happy. And what this quote kind of says is, hey, what if we're shooting for the wrong goals? Can we instead embrace the journey? Can we figure out how to be happy during the progressive realization of a worthy ideal? There's another segment of the book. This actually is borrowed from Sean Achor, who wrote the book called The Happiness Advantage. He gives 5 happiness habits, and you'll see a couple of these parallel the slight edge habits I recommended a minute ago. So his 5 happiness habits are: number 1, write down 3 new things you are grateful for each day. I'll link up in the show notes at sidehustlenation.com/slight edge. I've kind of hacked together a combination of Google Forms and a service called Nudge Mail to send me a daily reminder to fill in my gratitude journal. So I fill in my gratitude journal, and the same email also asks, hey, what did you get done today? And so that helps me feel productive. If I had a good day, I can write down all the stuff that I knocked out that day. So but there are dozens of free gratitude journal apps as well. So I like that. He says research shows that this improves your optimism and actually your success rates, 5-6 months down the road. So happiness habit number 2 is write down 2 minutes a day, one positive experience you've had over the last 24 hours. This is something that I probably don't do, or probably combined with the gratitude journal, but that was happiness habit number 2. Number 3 was exercise for 10 minutes a day. Like, do you have 10 minutes a day? I think I used to be, the person who would go to the gym for an hour, and it would kind of derail a lot of my momentum for the day. Like, I got to drive there, work out, drive back, take a shower, and then get going again. But everybody, has 10 minutes a day. And I found even just doing like home-based body weight exercises, kettlebell exercises for 10 minutes, like I feel measurably better after that instead of just sitting around. So I really like that habit. Habit number 4 in his happiness habit is meditation. Meditate for 2 minutes and just focus on your breath. I've used the Headspace app for this. I've used the Calm app for this. Or you just sit around and just close your eyes, focus on your breathing for a little bit. I'll admit, I do not have the meditation habit very, very, very well. When I tried to do it in the morning, I found myself thinking like, gosh, I really should just get to work right now. This is not doing anything for me. So I don't know if there's something that comes with practice. Maybe it's a slight edge thing. I just need to stick with it, where the the immediate results you may not be able to see. But curious to see, are you guys meditators? I'm not too much into it, but I found that breathing exercise, doing it at night for me helped kind of calm me down and help me fall asleep. So maybe that's a little bit of a twist on it, or a little bit of a hack on it. And happiness habit number 5 is to write one quick email first thing in the morning, thanking or praising a friend, a member of your team, a family member, someone in your network, because this has the effect of increasing your feeling of social support. You're starting your day from a positive place and acknowledging someone else's place. Just imagine, that would make you feel really good to receive that email, right? But it's almost it's selfishly selfless in that you're going to feel better just from sending that. So those are 5 happiness habits from Sean Achor, the Happiness Advantage book. And there are 2 other happiness habits in the Slight Edge that I want to share. Number 1 is the completion gap. And so if you're sitting on your to-do list with, a laundry list of different things, like that is stressful, that is mental clutter. And if you can close the loop on this one thing, if you can cross it off your list, that's going to improve your happiness. Say, that's one less thing to do. Think of it like the Dave Ramsey debt snowball, right? Like, I'm going to pay off my lowest hanging fruit first, and I'm going to cross it off, and I'm going to feel like accomplished about that. Same thing like, I'll call it the passive income snowball or the side hustle snowball. If I can create a side hustle income to pay off my lowest monthly expense, hey, that's fantastic. I'm going to feel really good about that. That's a completion gap. Hey, I no longer have to worry about my cell phone bill, my car insurance, my car payment, my gas and heating bill, whatever it is. Happiness habit number 2 from the book I want to share is catch yourself doing something good. The author makes the observation that, like, as children, we're told no 5 times more often than we're told yes. And so, like he says, the weight of the universe is very negative, and instead, so to combat that, we have to catch ourselves doing something good. Like, hey, I did my 10-minute exercise today. Hey, I wrote my 1-minute praise email today, and acknowledging that, hey, I'm doing my slight edge habits. Like that can make you feel good just in themselves. To wrap things up, we talked about success being the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. We talked about some of my slight edge habits. The question to ask yourself, is this decision going to help me or hurt me? And some suggested slight edge habits for side hustlers to grow your business and also to improve your happiness. Finally, we talked about that journey to happiness or excitement and what role the slight edge plays in that. So I want to ask you, what's going to be your slight edge this year? Can you apply the ideas from this book, from this episode, to make meaningful progress in your side hustle or your business this year? Let me know. Let me know in the comments of this episode at sidehustlenation.com/slight edge. Like, what are you going to make progress on each day? I want to share this final example from the book. The author asks, what's the difference between a tiny creek, the tiny creek that runs through your backyard, and the Grand Canyon? The answer is time. The only difference is time, millions of years in this case. But I want you to imagine a year from now, or 5 or 10 years from now, where you could be if you start to apply these slight edge habits today. So I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to kick off 2016 in a bang. It's going to be an awesome year. Lots of exciting stuff coming, including a new addition to the family. A little baby hustler is due in the Loper household later this month. So that's what's going on over here. Until next time, let's go out there, make something happen, and I'll catch you in the next edition of the Side Hustle Show. Hustle on.
Thanks for listening to The Side Hustle Show at www.sidehustlenation.com.